And welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show, a podcast brought to you by the Livingston Parish News. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news, and this is Around Livingston, where I sit down with this gentleman and we talk about what's going on around Livingston. Name matches the fascinating content. So we're going to give him a second to introduce himself real quick this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
Go ahead.
This is David Gray, news writer with the Livingston Parish News.
We got plenty to talk about this morning, so let us jump into it. First and foremost, interesting situation going on at the parish council. Injection wells, and they're looking to pass a moratorium on it.
Another moratorium.
Another moratorium. Excuse me. Well, it is. You know, we had a short moratorium the first time for development. This one would be a little bit longer. Give us the background on why they're considering it and how long they want it for.
Well, this was proposed by Councilman Shane Mack, who represents the Albany and Holden areas, and this is about a carbon capture hub that's being planned in the Holden area. This has been something that residents have been talking about for the last definitely several weeks and a few months now. Earlier this year, Weyerhaeuser agreed to lease 30,000 acres of land to OxyChem. That's a carbon capture company, and they're to make a carbon capture hub in Livingston Parish. And this would be the first of its kind for OxyChem. But basically what they do, they drill these injection wells, they're called, about 1.5 miles deep underground, and then all the carbon emissions from industrial sites, that's stored underground permanently. And that's advocates, call it a way to, reduce the carbon footprint, that could help address global warming, climate change, all that stuff. But there's also those who say it's not really a proven science, it's relatively new, and that there are risks associated with pumping, large amounts of CO2 underground. So this is something that Holden people have been very concerned about. The concerns stem from how it could affect the water, how it could affect the environment surrounding these injection wells. They're planning on, I think it would be a total of 16 wells. You would have 6 up to 6 injection wells where they would actually store the CO2. And then you have 8 to 10 monitoring wells that kind of just monitor how, the effects of the CO2 that's being put in the ground. But Shane Mack, I spoke with him about this, and his reasoning for the moratorium is more so just to give the council more time to talk about it. This being a relatively new phenomenon, there's no ordinances regulating injection wells or Class 6 injection wells. I believe this is what this one would fall under. The parish doesn't have any ordinance regulating that, so he wants the moratorium to allow them more time just to come up with some ordinances regulating it, sort of like the development moratorium did. It gave them a little bit of time to kind of go over what they needed to do, and so that'll be up for a vote tomorrow, September 8th, at the council meeting. So we'll see if they pass that. He did say the folks at OxyChem have been nothing but collaborative with them. They have not been, they've been wanting to do their best to be a good neighbor, because they know that this is a big proposition that they're making, and they're currently right now digging the data well, which is the well that kind of helps them see where they're going to be, what areas are good to put the injection wells, study the geology of the area a little bit more. But like I said, that'll go up for a vote tomorrow. And but as of right now, they have a permit to dig the data well, which, by what everyone is being told, they're not injecting anything into this data well. This is just a way for them to gather more information. But we'll see tomorrow if that gets passed.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Again, we're recording this on Wednesday. Their meeting is on Thursday. So yeah, will be interesting. It's a year-long moratorium, I believe, was the original proposal.
And it could go shorter if originally it was supposed to be, or he had proposed 6 months. But they decided to make it a year because, with something like this, you're learning a lot on, something that a lot of people aren't familiar with. I had to learn a bunch about injection wells and CO2 to write this story. And, for them to pass ordinances, they're going to have to study a good deal as well about it. So they pushed it to a year, and I think they're going to kind of phrase it to where if they get their regulations in order, they can end it earlier if they need to. But I believe right now that's what they're pushing for is a year-long moratorium.
So, going to be, again, interesting to see how they vote on Thursday night. Sticking with the council, during his president's remarks at the last parish council meeting, Parish President Leighton Ricks, as he usually does, partnered with Mighty Moms to declare September Childhood Hunger Awareness Month. This has been going on for several years.
Hmm.
Of course, Mighty Mom's mission is to try to feed underfed, underprivileged children in the community. They've partnered with the parish, with the library, that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about what Parish President Leighton Ricks had to say.
Yeah, that was like you kind of just said it. They've been
Oh,
doing this
sorry.
one since 2018, I believe, and where President Ricks offers a proclamation declaring one day in September Childhood Hunger Awareness Day because the entire month is Childhood Hunger Awareness Month. And on this day, Mighty Moms and some of their representatives and other officials, they go to different schools around the parish. They read this book called Maddie's Fridge that kind of touches on the friendship of two young girls who come from different backgrounds. One, has food always in the fridge. The other one has a fridge that's mostly empty, and just kind of reaching kids on that, on their own level to kind of show that, help them notice the warning signs of some of their friends who might not be be food insecure. That's the term that Mighty Mom uses, and actually, I believe 1 in 4 kids in Livingston Parish are food insecure. So that's sort of what this push is. It's a push, Mighty Moms. It's kind of their big fundraiser and food collection month as well, when they really get out there and try to make the community aware of what they're doing and the need that they have. And they hadn't actually been able to do this the last couple of years because you had COVID in 2020, and then last year you had Hurricane Ida. So this is the first year they'll actually be back in the school since 2019. I know they were looking forward to. I sat down with the co-founders a couple weeks ago to talk about it, and they actually kind of teased a new program that they're going to be introducing, I believe, in October. It's a partnership with the Livingston Parish Library. It's going to be an educational program, and it's going to be targeting middle school and high school students because the Full Tummy Project, that's what Mighty Moms is known for, where they provide these weekend food bags to kids that are, selected by guidance counselors, teachers, administrators, that sort of thing, who, qualify as food insecure. And they feed about 600 kids a week on that. And they give these kids a food bag filled with, stuff for the weekend. Because a lot of these kids, their source of meals is usually the school lunches. And so Mighty Moms, tries to help them get through the weekend, but that kind of gets lost when the kids get older. Variety of reasons. Sometimes kids are just, high school kids are a little embarrassed maybe to admit that, because some of these elementary schools will have hundreds of kids who get the food bags, and when they get to high school, they only have 1 or 2. They said so. I mean, they're not being hungry. They're just not I guess reaching out for assistance. So this new program they're going to introduce in October is going to kind of target that, while also it'll be something that's available to all kids regardless of economic impact. And they've sworn me to secrecy on it, so I can't explain what it is yet. But whenever that program is officially introduced, we'll definitely have something on that. It's going to be something that will benefit all kids in Livingston Parish.
Sounds good. Thanks for the preview. Before we get into sort of more of a pair, it's something that goes beyond the borders of this parish. Do want to discuss that, through Representative Buddy Mincy Jr., a committee was put together called Linked Up Livingston, trying to address or gather data, rather, on what's going on with broadband in Livingston Parish. The grant money that would be coming out from the state and a federal partnership, I believe, were called gumbo grants, and it would appear that Livingston Parish is about to get one. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Livingston Parish is getting one for 1.73 million. That's going to Spectrum, and Spectrum's actually putting up another 1.5 million, so right at 3 million to expand broadband in the rural parts of Livingston Parish. It should provide broadband to about 500 homes and small businesses. And yeah, this is just part of the mission of the Linked Up Livingston Committee that and Mr. Mincy helped form I believe it was last year. And another cool thing with what they were able to do, not only get this secure this grant to extend broadband, but they also were one of Linked Up Livingston helped Livingston Parish become one of 5 parishes in the state that are going to be kind of this pilot program to improve digital literacy, because that's one of the components of the Gumbo grants, is to not only provide broadband and affordable internet access for people, but also to improve digital literacy, because that just kind of goes hand in hand with it. You need to know how to use the services, or otherwise just having them doesn't really do that much good. So there's not I haven't heard when that will actually be implemented, but it's a $20,000 grant, and it's going to be done in conjunction with the Livingston Parish Library. So they're basically, there's going to be sessions just kind of helping people who are interested in improving their digital literacy skills. So, but yeah, that was the big news. So that should be coming up, like I said, in the rural parts of the parish, and Spectrum is going to be the internet provider.
So interesting to see how that turns out. One of the first of those Gumbo grants to come, at least to Livingston Parish.
Yes.
Getting into an interesting back and forth here between 2 electric co-ops. DIMCO, which is Dixie, is what the D stands for.
I did not know that.
Yes, the Dixie Electrical Cooperative. The EMCO stands for something else, but Dixie. Because CLECO is who they're up against, and that's Central Louisiana. So I guess Dixie is Southern Louisiana. I don't know, but that's what that means. DIMCO and CLECO are getting into it. I'm going to let you go into the details of it, but it appears that DIMCO has accused their partner CLECO of acting in bad faith.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best summation of it. DIMCO is, at the moment, they've launched a legal dispute, which is, it's not a lawsuit yet, but they have said if the 2 companies can't come to an agreement, then they will file a lawsuit. And basically, this stems from what DIMCO is calling overcharges from a power plant in Louisiana. Like you said, DIMCO purchases its power from CLECO. They have a contract through 2024, I believe. It's a 10-year contract, and DIMCO is arguing that there's at least $30 million in overcharges that they're seeking to reimburse back to their customers. DIMCO operates in 7 parishes in the capital area, and its biggest customer base is in Livingston Parish. It has about 45,000 customers of its 114 customers in that 7 parish area. So CLECO is denying this. They're denying that they drove up the prices at all. They're arguing that the prices were driven up by natural gas prices increasing, and that's something that power companies, Energy's talked about it, DIMCO has talked about it at times, and CLECO have that these overcharges are stemming from the increase in natural gas and the increase in power usage. I mean, we had a hot summer, and that drives up usage, and that's CLECO's arguing that they did not profit off any of these, that they were not acting in bad faith, and they intend to fulfill their contract through 2024. DIMCO already has a contract lined up. It's waiting approval from Louisiana Public Service Commission. But so yeah, I mean, as of right now, there's no lawsuit filed, but we're going to see that could happen if the 2 companies do not come to an agreement, because under their contract, they have to, sort of try to work these disputes out internally before taking it to the courts. So we'll wait to see if anything comes from that.
It's going to be interesting. There hadn't been a dispute like that in quite some time. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Might end up at the Public Service Commission. I believe that wraps it up, except for one thing. I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Please, as per the city building inspector for the city of Denham Springs, that would be Mr. Rick Foster. Look at the ordinance. You can find it on our website, www.livingstonparishnews.com, regarding political signs. He has asked us to kind of put the word out that he has had to go out himself. If a worker from the city DPW is not available, he will go get in his truck and go pick up illegally placed signs. He takes that ordinance very seriously. So please be on the lookout for illegal signs. You can call the city at 225-665-8121. And obviously, he and his staff will be looking out for those signs as well as it is political season. Mayor Gerard Landry was in here just a few weeks ago, ran unopposed, but we do have 6 people running for 5 seats for the city council
and school board.
and school
We
board.
have some seats open in Denham Springs for a couple school board seats. So
Yes, indeed. So plenty going on this election season. So, Mr. Gray, if you'll take a second to reintroduce yourself as we head on out.
hey, this is David Gray, news writer with the Livingston Parish News.
And my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys out there for joining us for the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show. This is Around Livingston. It's where David and I sit down and talk about what's going on around Livingston, an apropos title. Please remember the news is on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time.